Hello and welcome back to episode 17 of my Space Engineers Vanilla Let's Play. So, I started working on this yesterday. I've got everything all welded up now. And I'm wanting to kind of get this video out as quickly as possible with a nice completed build. I've also done 3 or 4 loads in my little cargo vessel, and I've only got 13% hydrogen. So I think it would be best to have this get itself off the ground and go mine ice on its own. So I went ahead and put on 4 O2H2 generators on the top up here. That should make it much easier to fill itself up. So let's go ahead and get those welded up with what parts I do have, which apparently is not very many of the parts, but you know, whatever. Go ahead and get the rest of those made. So I've got my antenna, ore detector, batteries, I hope enough gyroscopes to make it at least mobile. And I have an idea on how to make sure I have enough down thrust. And I'll probably leave this connector here, though I need to put a better place to land it so I can get the Stargazer back on its spot. I just kind of threw this over here temporarily so I can unload the cargo ship of the ice that I've been going to get. There we go, there's the rest of my parts. And now this will be able to fill itself. I've got it going from this cargo container all the way over to here. It's all connected up throughout there. So let's see, the other thing I wanted to do on this real quick is get in a bunch of conveyor blocks on each side. So I'll queue up 8 and I'll put that in the build queue twice. And let's go ahead and grab some of this stuff. Oh look, I need exactly 8 on each side for doing it that way. I like that. I didn't even count that out. It just happens to work out. Notice last time my keyboard comes over a little bit. I am sorry for that. I jam a lot of keys on this very quickly. And I do love my good mechanic keyboard. Who doesn't love a good mechanic keyboard? Another reason that I'm going to have to find a better place to park this is I am going to be burning the ground as I take off. And there's not much of anything I can do about that. It's just going to happen. Fortunately, steel is in mass supply and nice and cheap, so I will be able to repair this after I take off. I guess it didn't get all of that done after all. Silly thing. Starting to wonder if I'm actually low on something. Oh no, it's all iron stuff, so I shouldn't be low on it. There we go. Alright, and of course I do still have some interior plates or something on me. No? Okay. So let's see, I'm going to need steel so I can put these in. Not the large ones. There we go. And then let's go ahead and put these in here, which is exactly why it's definitely going to be burning as I take off. But that is fine. Alright, so there's going to be all of the lifting thrust. I shouldn't need as much for side-to-side thrust, so let's just start at the back, skip one going. And for up, I also don't need much. Just stagger those a little bit. All right. And of course, hydrogen running out on myself again. So I put a stockpile over here so I can make sure those fill up properly. I do think this will be ready to go as soon as I get those all welded up. I also put on lights on the front. Should help things out a little bit. I should probably find a way to put a camera over here, but I'll worry about that later. I can most likely still park it in third person. So let's get all of these lift thrusters. All welded up. As much as it'll let me anyway before needing to build more parts. Yep, there we go. That's all the parts that I had thus far. Yeah, this thing is rather large. It's not a giant ship, but it's definitely rather large. But it should have no problems getting itself plenty of ice to fill up its own hydrogen tanks to be able to go and mine anything I happen to need. And let's see. Over here, I'll have to get rid of this stuff right here and here. And be able to pull this out further so I can get my wall of guns to protect this building. But also a landing pad for this, I think would be a good thing to have over there. Between the building and the guns. Actually, I've got all of these thrusters on here now, so let's just come in here, thrusters. That's the ore finder thrusters, but let's just grab all of these and turn those off. The large thrusters are already turned off. It doesn't really use up your hydrogen sitting there, but it always bugs me and makes me feel like it's going to be using my hydrogen. Sure, I'm not the only one who feels like that. Industrial cargo, throw that away. I had steel on me when I was going through and getting started on all these. That's why I have extra steel afterward. What do I have on me now? More extra steel. I don't need that. And it straight up took the steel out of there. Did it give me more steel? It did. There we go. Now I shouldn't have any additional steel that I don't need. right? Right, okay. And parts be heavy. And it picked up more steel that time, whatever. Getting tired of fighting with it. I'll just leave them there. Actually, I don't have to just leave them there. Let's just shove them in here. There we go. Now when I go and check those, it'll only give me what steel I need. There we go. There's that last lift thruster on the side. I have more steel plates on me. There we go. Get these next 8 going. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and bring it back. We all see what I'm doing here. Just wasting lots of time getting all this welded up. Alright, so I ran out of nickel, so I came back over here to my Trinity location to grab more.
Inventory full.
This is what happens when you are repeatedly building large things. You just run out of key ingredients. But fortunately, I do have all of my refineries all set up and everything, so this should not take long at all. And I can be right back on track. Just wanted to come back and say that real quick.
Inventory full.
Okay, here we go. I have all of those welded up, and I think this thing is ready to take off. I will figure out its parking spot a little bit later, but for right now, let's go ahead and grab all of these thrusters. I have named it BigDrilla. Grab all those. BD thrusters. And then these 2 BD brakes. Let me double check one more thing real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 advendos, so that should not be burned. I looked it up and double checked myself. It is 6 blocks that those will burn in a 3x3 radius. So let's grab BD thrusters, put those on here. And brakes, put those there. All right. Those were already on. I don't have very long of flight, and I want to burn as little as possible. I've got 13% in each of these tanks. I just want to come a little ways away from my base. And then dig a massive hole in the ice. I will have to at some point see if this thing can actually carry its full cargo, but right now I just want to grab tons of ice. Oh my god, that is easy. I'm just gonna crash into here a little bit, and I'm going to turn those down because that is super loud. I guess it wouldn't be so loud if I was not in that camera view. I don't know if there's any ore under here, so I'll check that real quick. Nope, just ice. Well, I'm good with that. Need tons of the stuff. There is something else I'm wanting to do on here. Ooh, wow. That should be a decent bit of ice to get started with. Let's go ahead and shut those off. And let this thing sit for a little bit. Trying to bring it down nice and easy. And there we go. It sits on its own. And I want this thing to fill up those tanks. But something else I'm thinking about doing is right over here, putting in a emotion controller, that's the word I'm looking for, to let me know when these cargo containers are full. That will be, honestly, I think pretty much the last thing I need on this. It's very nice. That is a very big hole that it drills. Doubly nice. So this is a much shorter video, but here we go. This thing is more or less complete. Actually, yeah, I'm going to bring this back here in a few after I've got some proper hydrogen in these tanks, and I'm going to go ahead and finish it up with that cargo buddy system that I like to use. Let's go ahead and check the O2s. They are all cranking. Look at my tanks. Let's just go ahead and not have those shown in the thing. So 12.6% on each of these tanks. So yeah, I'll bring this back in a few minutes. Once I've got this actually, well, I'd say at least like 30% hydrogen. So I can easily fly it back over and park it and whatnot. So yeah, I'll bring this back. Okay, I got tired of waiting, so I just went ahead and grabbed some more ice in this thing and flew it over here after getting a rudimentary parking spot for it right next to my little cargo ship. What a stark difference. Let's go ahead and see about getting that cargo buddy system set up. Let's just go ahead and get rid of all this. Don't need any of that anymore. And emotion controller, and I believe I'm also going to need an event controller. So let's just get both of those in. Fortunately, I still have this connector over here that I built everything off of. Actually, I can just go ahead and use ports over here as well. So get all that thrown in, and I want them right here in front of my cockpit. Well, at least the emotion controller. I'll probably put the event controller back in here. There we go, got all those. So let's go ahead and throw the event controller in. Doesn't really matter which way it goes, but I want to be able to see it, so I'll face it up. And over here, nice front and center, the emotion controller. All right. Now I am going to need this disconnected and hovering, so let's turn the stockpile off. we go. So now I can find the event controller. I want it to be cargo filled, equal to or greater than 90% on these large cargo containers. And gate. I want all of them to be full or empty, whichever. So select actions. So if that is true, I want the dead face. If it is false, let's see. Let's give it a skeptical face. That should be fun. So let's see. Connect this back up. And let's grab all of the cargo from here and throw it into these industrial cargo containers. Glad I have plenty of these. That is a lot of ice. So now it should be empty, and that's not changing anything. So let's just go ahead and throw it on the skeptical face. It should actually work once things get filled up on here. Let's see. Actually, let's go with the confused face. That way we can see when things change. Oh, look, a nice moment of clarity out here. So let's just go ahead and get a screenshot. I didn't catch it before the fog totally rolled in, but there wasn't much fog. I think I've got a decent picture there. We will see. So I do have this setting itself up. I want to look. Did those lights get damaged? They shouldn't have. No, they look fine. Wasn't sure if that was a good place to put them or not. And I could probably use some other devices on here. Like, if I take this into space, I definitely want some oxygen. So go back to tanks. I really like these new lab oxygen tanks. Let's grab 2 of those. And I can stick them up here on top of the hydrogen tanks. Now, just to show things, you don't really have to have armor and whatnot to make a decent functional ship. Just need your gyroscopes and things of the sort. Oh, come on, sit down right. There we go. So now I'll have some oxygen on board, so I can even take this thing into space and not feel bad about things. Those tanks should actually fill up much quicker than the hydrogen tanks, I think. Let's see. How we doing here? Oh yeah. Much, much faster than these large tanks, or hydrogen tanks. Which I actually want to look back at again. One of these, 18.5. Of course, all of them are going to be the same. That's probably the best thing about ships like this. And I just have batteries on here. And all of this hydrogen. So, yeah, let's go ahead and add some hydrogen engines too. If I wind up in a bad position due to a lack of battery power, I want to be able to recharge those. Yeah, this is already half full. So I'll put those back here on the back end, opposite my oxygen tanks. There we go. Better safe than sorry. Speaking of better safe than sorry, let's go those engines real quick. and turn them off, because they're going to immediately start cooking hydrogen as soon as I get them built otherwise. Why are you on? I turned you off. I guess I missed one of them because of the way I was clicking about. Keeping an ear out on this one. No running. Okay. Right. So, once I've got some hydrogen in here, I think I'm going to use this and go back into space or over to one of my ore patches on planet. Actually, it'd probably be better. And start gathering all of the ore that I will need to actually complete my power station and cargo container or cargo station over here. So like I said, this needs to be heavy armor, and we'll have guns on its roof. And I think I'm actually going to put the wall right across through here, make this just a nice little slope coming over to it, and probably put an airlock over here so I can walk in without depressurizing it. But that will be next episode. At this time, the BigDrilla is functionally complete. I might add more stuff to it as time goes on. We will see. All depends on what I wind up needing. And there we go. Those oxygen tanks are now full. Okay, I was looking at the glass, but it wasn't letting me in. And I only have 20% hydrogen. But considering the fact I was at 17% when I flew back, this thing's actually really efficient. So, if you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and hit the like button down below. And if you're wanting to see what else I get up to, there is always that subscribe button. And there we go, got a good picture that time. Though I still had my HUD on. I don't like doing that. Oh well. Until next time, have a good one.